Pop off as we head into tonight, continue overnight into tomorrow morning. So here is our forecast for tonight: Chicago, Cape Girardeau, Louisville, over towards Cleveland and Detroit. There's your Torcon and hail that Jordan had mentioned. 2-inch or greater golf ball size hail is 1 3/4. So it's going to be bigger than golf ball size hail coming through this vicinity. So there are the temperatures already dropping off. Look at Bismarck, look at Glasgow, the single digits, teens in Rapid City. That is going to plummet south behind this system here. So enjoy these 50s and 60s at 6 o'clock in the morning while you've got them. There is some limited moisture with this, and so that could make things not as bad as they could be, but there is still plenty of moisture to cause the rain, the gusty winds, the tornadic potential as well. And we do have that forcing in the atmosphere. We do have some of it happening here into the Midwest. And then, of course, we have those stronger winds that are cutting over this area, and that's going to give us a little spin. Low-level winds aloft, increase and turn southwesterly. So what that means, the surface, a more southerly, you get more of a southwesterly flow, so you could get a little spin into some of these storms that we are going to see fire up, especially as we head into tonight. And then as you look at those mid-level winds, a little bit more westerly for us here, all cutting right across the warm sector where you have everything lifting up and rising up. You've got that motion going for you. And as we go through the afternoon and into the evening hours, you can see how things start to develop there into Illinois around 8 p.m. And then everything kind of pops off as we head into the evening hours. So it's not just about daytime heating. It's about the winds in the environment. It's about the moisture in the environment. There's a lot of different directional shear, a little bit of speed shear within this as well for us as we go up in the environment. And so, Jim, that's why we have that potential for tornadoes. Are so cool to see, really, I have to say. Let's have a look at this as it moves to the I-95 corridor for our Wednesday evening. There we go in Nashville. You were just seeing the live picture there with Jordan. It was in the bottom, I think, left-hand corner of the screen. And you saw the roads were wet, and it looked like there was a little lightning that kind of popped off there. Wouldn't be surprised if you had a little lightning in one of these thunderstorms that are rolling through. And this is all going to be making its way to the east as we head throughout the day. That's kind of the pregame as you head through the day. And then here is the big storm that happens. Look what time, though, at 2 a.m. on Wednesday. And notice the temperatures. I want to show you in the 60s in Indianapolis, the teens in Omaha. And all that cold air is going to come in south, pull in south. Behind that, Nashville, more storms tomorrow morning. The 20s into Springfield, St. Louis, that's headed in your direction. There's a slight possibility of some flooding with this. It'll be very localized, though, with some of those downpours. And then this is all going to make its way towards the I-95 corridor, and in its path, it could drop some of those heavy showers for us. So let's play this out and show you that by 6 o'clock, you're going to get it into the northeast. It'll still be trailing in the south, but you see that cold air getting in Nashville, dropping down, not quite into Atlanta yet. You got to wait for the system to pass. And then those temperatures, look at them dropping down as we head into our Thursday morning. So you'll wake up to quite a chill. Mainly rain with this one because the cold air doesn't come in until behind it. Syracuse, though, Jim, some places where the moisture hasn't fully gotten out, we will be able to get some snow, but the wind is going to be big with this too. We could see it over 50 miles an hour.
And Steph, what is Syracuse? About 60 inches down?
On this Tuesday edition of America's Morning Headquarters. Welcome back into America's Morning Headquarters. Parts of the Midwest are facing a dangerous triple threat that begins late today. And as we head into tomorrow, hail could be 2 inches in diameter. We could see Torcon values at a 3. The higher the number, the higher the threat. And also, we are going to have winds here. By the way, they'll be gusting over 50 miles an hour. This is all the way through tonight, and really this thing lasts through Wednesday evening. Let's get into some of those details with Jim Cantori.
All right, guys. Yeah, right now.
Off as we head into this evening, here's a look at where we could have that severe weather anywhere from Detroit to Chicago, Cape Girardeau, Cleveland, on into Louisville. There's your tornado threat. Higher the number, the higher the threat of tornadoes. And then hail, 2 inches or greater, and golf ball size hail is 1 3/4 inches. So this is going to be bigger than golf ball size hail for us. Notice the temperatures at southerly flow, Chicago into St. Louis, 50s and 60s, while you can see the cold air already getting into Bismarck, Rapid City, and Glasgow, where we are in the teens and the single digits. That means you're getting snow. We have this energy that is giving us the possibility of some hail this morning from Lexington down into London, also down into Tennessee. Nashville had some storms early this morning. Some of the grounds might be wet, Rose, I should say, as you're heading out. And we will be getting moisture into our warm sector this morning. And that's where our temperatures are in the 50s. Chicago already, I mean, this is insane. These are dew point temperatures already getting this high. So the higher the dew point, then you're talking about more moisture in the atmosphere. Now, we expect energy to keep popping off because when you have humid air, moist air, it is going to be lifting. It's going to be jumping up in the atmosphere. And then you factor in some of the winds with this cutting across the warm sector, and you'll see the threat for these storms to develop. Our winds are going to be changing direction with height. So at the surface, they're going to be a southerly flow. As we go to low level, mid level, they're going to be more of a southwesterly flow. And then we actually have a westerly component if you go up to the jet level. And that changing of winds with height is going to give us a little spin. But there's your energy. That orange tells us basically the energy we have in the atmosphere to get everything to rise up and then get it to rain out or perhaps spin. Around 8 p.m., things pop off into Illinois, on into Wisconsin. Stronger storms developing into southern portions of Indiana, Ohio, Cleveland, a line coming through you as well. And then all of this is going to progress eastbound as we head overnight, Wednesday morning, and by Wednesday evening. This is along the I-95 corridor. I think this really tells the story the best. As you have southerly flow here in Indianapolis at the surface, you go up and the winds change direction a little bit with height. And then as you go higher up, they change direction even more. And so that is your directional shear. There's a little bit of speed shear, but of course, Jim, we've seen speed shear much greater than this before. But we're still seeing, okay, we got a little shear in the atmosphere. We got to watch for some spins.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the 20,000 foot.
All of this, and as it moves through the I-95 corridor, because we are going to get rain Wednesday evening for a lot of us here from the northeast to the south. We do have a few showers this morning. This is not the big game that's coming in. Clouds stretch really from Michigan down into the south with a little bit of rain, but I want you to watch the temperatures because that's going to be a big deal. They're going to drop by 50 degrees by tomorrow morning. The rain really develops as we head this evening, last overnight, and notice Chicago at 49, Omaha at 14. Look at Little Rock at 72 degrees, and it's dropping through the day on Wednesday. So there are going to be places where your high is going to happen in the morning, and the temperature is going to be dropping as we go throughout the day. So you'll walk out and be like, hey, it's 72 degrees. This is great. And then by later in the day, you're going to be like, where is my jacket? I'm freezing. I need a jacket here. There's a look at that threat for flooding. I think it will be localized with these storms. It progresses east as we head into our Wednesday and Thursday, but so does that cold air. And notice that Chicago finally back down to where we should be, right? And that will be the story with a lot of this. Our temperatures will be 5 to 10 degrees below average. It's not like it's super frigid. It's just more typical than what we've seen as of late. This clears the coast, though, as we head into our Wednesday evening, early Thursday morning. 1 to 2 inches of rain is what we're really going to see out of this. It's a little moisture starved. But look at Syracuse, New York. Wednesday 64, by Wednesday night 21 degrees. A little moisture left over in that cold air. That means we're going to see some snow. It's going to be pretty light, but as Jim was mentioning last hour, Syracuse is like 60 inches below average or something absurd. There's a lot of these 2, 3, 4, even 5 feet below average on snow. The other thing is the winds are going to be cranking with this thing. We're going to see them gusting over 50 miles an hour, especially here right off the lakes. So, Jim, that could cause some power outages, actually. It's going to be pretty fierce, those winds.
Yeah, because they
ahead on this Tuesday edition of America's Morning Headquarters, why these February flakes are. Welcome back to America's Morning Headquarters. Parts of the Midwest are facing a dangerous triple threat that begins late today and stretches into the overnight hours. We could have hail, tornadoes could strike cities like Chicago, Indianapolis, and Louisville. There's a chance that that hail that I was mentioning could be 2 inches in diameter. We're talking bigger than golf ball size hail across a 500-mile swath from southeast Missouri to Detroit, and thunderstorms could not only unleash strong winds. These winds that you're looking at are what we call synoptic scale winds, and essentially where that low pressure is, it is going to be tightly wound up. There's going to be a pressure gradient, and we could see potentially some trees and power lines taken down, really, Jim, anywhere from the upper Midwest all the way into the Northeast with this.
multi-hazard, right?
We could have some and a few of these thunderstorms blasting across Kentucky this morning. Hail is possible. We have seen some stronger thunderstorms make their way here along the highway headed towards Charleston, West Virginia. Cloudy weather as well. Some of you might have just some wet streets like in and around Nashville. The streets could be a little bit wet there as the storms have come through. Notice the temperatures too. Little Rock is a good one to focus on. Chicago is a good one to focus on because we have the warmth right now. But as we have our system really develop and pull through, you saw Little Rock up to 80 degrees. Watch what happens with these temperatures as we go into our Wednesday. By tomorrow morning, we have dropped 30 degrees. Look at Chicago down to 28 degrees. We're going to see huge temperature swings with this system, and it all comes behind this. As it goes east, everyone will be feeling that cool air coming in. Possibility of flooding. I think it will be very localized. That continues as we head into tomorrow and really into Thursday. But Jordan, this clears the coast Wednesday evening, and we are left in the chill. I mean, really, it's like 5 or 10 below, but we haven't felt temperatures like this in a while.
Yeah. And then we warm back up.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Well, let's have a look at what's coming up in this next hour of America's Morning Headquarters. That's when everything's going to really come together for us, mainly tonight, overnight, and then into tomorrow morning. You see the red shading on the map. That's where we have the biggest threat for severe weather. Tornadoes, the 3 on our Torcon, really from Paducah to Chicago over towards western Ohio, and then hail is going to be bigger than golf balls for us here. So 2-inch or greater hail threat. Golf ball size hail is 1 3/4, so we could see more than that. The other thing are the temperatures. We're going to talk more about that through the show, but look at the teens and single digits here. South Dakota, North Dakota, onto Montana. Well, we have 55 in Chicago right now, 59 in Indianapolis, which is already warmer than we typically see our high for the day, but those are going to come crashing down behind this boundary. Within the warm sector, there is limited moisture, but we still do have those dew point temperatures into the 50s, and really you need mid-50s or higher to get severe weather. You can see those mid-50s at least up into Indianapolis. We've got them there, and down into Jonesboro, Arkansas. This area also is going to have a lot of lift with all of this warm, moist air rising up, and then you throw the winds on that, and the winds are going to change direction with height a bit, and that means that we are going to see the threat for severe weather. It happens tonight. Those low-level winds are going to come in from the southwest, while our surface winds are from the south, and that's what you call wind shear. Surface winds are like this, and as you go up in the atmosphere, they turn. And so that shear gives us that spin in the atmosphere and the threat of severe weather. So here's where we can see the forcing. I do think Illinois into Indiana, down into Louisville area, we could see some of those stronger storms. We really kick off around 8 o'clock, and then this whole system develops overnight. It's not just about daytime heating, because there's still going to be enough forcing in the atmosphere. Look at these cells stretching all the way back into Missouri. This is all going to be pushing east overnight into tomorrow morning. The northeast down to the south is where we do have that severe weather. We clear out, and boy, do we cool off, as Jordan was showing you. But this is a really good example of those winds. We are from the south at the surface, and then southwest and west-southwest. It's not huge shear, but it's enough shear, and that's what you call directional shear. We also have what you call speed shear, and there's a little bit of this, but you know, these could be a lot stronger to have a much stronger speed shear. But Jim, some of those components are definitely there, and this is why we have a 3 on our Torcon.
Steph,
Look at the rain as it moves east, because this whole system, when it brings in those cooler temperatures, gets all the way to the east coast and will go offshore. This is kind of our pregame. This is not the big show. That's going to happen later tonight into the overnight hours, but there's a potential for a little bit of hail in some of these storms that are rumbling through Kentucky. You can see the lightning associated with them and the rain that's coming down with them as well. That is going to give way to the big system that's going to drop all of these temperatures, more record-setting temperatures for us. As we go through the overnight hours, the rain comes in. I mean, Chicago, we go from the 70s dropping down very much so. A lot of people dropping 50 to 60 degrees. The potential for some flooding. And I think this will be very localized with some of these storms, and the same as we head into tomorrow morning through Thursday. But there is everything kind of moving east. So we're going to go Chicago. We're going to see like a 40-degree temperature difference with our highs, even though what's going to be really confusing for some is it's going to be nice and warm in the morning, and then the front's going to come through and your temperatures are going to cool off tomorrow. So you might have your high at like 3 in the morning or 6 in the morning, and then temperatures are going to fall through the day depending on where you are as this front goes through. 1 to 2 inches of rain for us here. And there's that cold air coming in. Look at Syracuse, 64 down to 21. 1. It's a shock. It's like jumping from, the hot tub into the pool. Your body's like, what just happened? 3 to 5 inches there into Syracuse. And the winds are also going to be a big deal for us here. We could see them gusting to 50 miles an hour as the system goes through. Those are synoptic scale winds. That's just the low pressure overall, not the actual thunderstorm winds. So we're kind of getting it from 2 different ways as this blows on through. So keep that in mind as well. And this wind is going to make these teens feel like it's about 0 degrees, depending on how gusty it is. And on top of that, with the rain, forget it. It's going to be miserable, Jim, in a lot of places.
I mean, that's just the temperature.
Welcome back to America's Morning Headquarters. Parts of the Midwest are facing a dangerous triple threat that begins late today, stretches into the overnight hours. There is a chance for hail 2 inches or greater, I should say, across a 500-mile swath from southeastern Missouri into Detroit. Also, tornadoes. They could strike cities like Chicago, Indianapolis, and Louisville. And then we also just have the system itself giving us extremely strong winds. This is what you call synoptic scale winds. That would be the whole low pressure. That's the synoptic scale opposed to mesoscale, which is a lot smaller, when you're talking about thunderstorms and whatnot. But this is the big system giving us the potential for power outages and trees to be taken down as well. Jim, it's actually the upper Midwest and northern plains that start with these strong winds. They get all the way into the Northeast.
Yeah, they do.
I'm so excited.
41 days away from the total solar eclipse that will cross over 13 states from Texas all the way to Maine on Monday, April 8th.
More than 31 million people live within the path of totality, providing the perfect opportunity for large-scale science experiments.
Yeah, so joining us this morning to talk about all of this is Dr. Henry Winter. He is the co-leader of the Eclipse Soundscapes Project. And focus on that word sound here for a second. Thank you for talking to us, sir. You'll be revisiting nearly, something from a century ago, old eclipse study. What is the goal of this project?
Yeah, so the goal of this project is...
How exactly can the public get involved? What do they need to do to help collect the data?
So there's lots of different ways to get...
You could use your phone, but you're going to be taking pictures.
You're going to be taking pictures, and also, too, we need to have these out 2 days before the eclipse. And if you can get a teenager to leave their phone for 2 days...
So you have a baseline,
good luck
right?
with that, yeah.
So you're doing that as a baseline. Hey, so let me ask you this, though. Along the path of totality...
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's what you're seeking to get, to get these sensors in. We're going to have millions of people.
Yeah.
And they're going to be loud and cheering. It's going to be like a Super Bowl. Are you worried about that getting in line?
Me on video crying, I'm kind of certain of that.
Yeah, if this is based on anything that happened in the last eclipse,
then you're going to hear...
There's going to be a lot of...
We hear lots of hooting and hollering.
Also people excited about it.
Yeah.
Dr. Henry Winter with the Eclipse Soundscapes Project. Good luck, brother. Can't wait to hear the results coming out of this. And, of course, remember, we're going to have special coverage of the total eclipse right here on the Weather Channel.
Yeah, Jordan, another 20 years till we get it again here in the U.S.
No, we're going to enjoy it.
Well, at the top of the hour in America's Morning Headquarters,